Well, she's an aspiring sprint car driver from Monroe, Washington, and she is currently a sportsman sprint racer at Grays Harbor Raceway as well as Skagit Speedway, but is hoping to make the jump to 360s and 410s very soon. It's Keira Zylstra, our next guest here on Getting Up to Speed. This broadcast is brought to you by Meat Freaks Jerky Club. Get the best jerky the world has to offer straight to your door by visiting meatfreaksjerkyclub.com. Pick your box and plan, tell them where to ship, and receive and enjoy. Log on to meatfreaksjerky.com and use promo code SPEED. Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. The Dennis Roth Classic returns to Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare this weekend, starting off on Friday, April 14th and Saturday the 15th, with the last night paying a whopping $18,383. Napa Auto Parts will be presenting the NARC 410 Sprint Series both nights, and it will feature stars such as NARC point leader Corey Day, Cole Macedo, Dominic Selzy, Chase Johnson, Tim Kading, Bud Kading, Justin Sanders, Shane Golobic, Craig Kinzer, and many more. Both nights, front gates open at 4, racing starts at 6. For ticket information, log on to thunderboltraceway.com. For more information on the NARC 410 series, visit www.narc410.com. On the phone with me now, Keira Zylstra out of Monroe, WA. Keira, great to have you on here with Getting Up to Speed.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
Well, last year, let's talk about 2022. You had a pretty wonderful year. Overall, between 360 and spec racing, limited action and sportsman action, 2 wins, 4 podiums, 7 top 5s, 18 top 10s, and 20 starts, considering that the Pacific Northwest, so much of the spring got rained out last season.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun season. Definitely a couple ups and downs, but we had a lot of fun.
Grays Harbor Raceway is where you guys primarily ran at. 2 wins. Your 2 wins were there. All your podiums were there. The majority of the top 5s, 5 of 7 top 5s, were produced at GHR, and then half of the top 10s there with 9. And then 10 starts of that place. You guys seemed to have a really good rhythm. You guys scored second in points and had a really good point lead going to the very end. Or point battle, I should say.
Yep, it was, they had their stuff dialed in more towards the end of the year with the track. They had some new track prep crew, but by middle of the season, end of the season, they had everything just dialed in. Track was great. When the Ironheads came up, there was a lot of racing. The only thing is I wish it was more competitive regularly, but it was good. We were messing around with stagger a lot, and we were messing with setup. So just overall, I think it was a good learning experience for my dad and I.
And talking to you off the air before we got this thing started, you guys were up there in the points table, had a ferocious fight. Tell me about that last night. If you want to recall,
Yeah,
I'm sure it feels a little bitter still sometimes.
So in the heat race, I started pole, Destry Miller. He was the one sitting in second place, 1 point behind me, going into championship night. He started outside pole. He took the win in the heat race and started on the pole for the main. I started outside pole. I took the lead by the backstretch, or by the time we got to the backstretch, and I think I led 19 or so laps. And on that last spread that we had, I could hear something ticking, and I was really hoping it wasn't going to be anything. And I was like, just gonna ignore it for now. So I shut everything down, and then when we got push started again, it was getting louder, and I'm like, okay, that's not good. And so then probably 2 laps after that, just big puff of smoke, no power really, and then we started getting past and stuff, and then probably another lap after that, it just completely threw a rod out the side of the oil pan, oil everywhere, and the motor was dead.
Yeah. No good. No good. But even though that was a tough thing to undergo, does it give you even more motivation for 2023, figuring that you guys have been so consistent, so good there that between you and your race team, it's like we can do this again. In fact, I think we can do it better this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we're planning on running a lot of Grays Harbor and Skagit this year because the schedules aren't as conflicting. We're not quite sure yet which one we're going to run primarily for points. But definitely excited to see what we can do this year. And since we do have a new motor, we'll see how that helps us out.
Awesome. Awesome. And last year you did quite a bit of traveling. You did some of ISCS Week of Speed, made it down to Oregon. And then also Eagle Track Raceway in Republic in kind of the north central part of the state. You actually got fifth in that feature.
Oh yeah, Eagle Track was super fun. It was a little dusty, and it was kind of a trip out there. I mean, you didn't have cell service most of the way over there.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty cool track. Really cool people there. They don't have sprint cars there a lot, so this is kind of like they're coming back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they've got a sprint car race scheduled for 2023, probably June or July, that we won't be able to make it to. But I hope they get a lot of cars there. And for us, that was a really good learning experience for my throttle control because the track was just so incredibly slick.
Yeah.
And then as for Speed Week, that was also a lot of learning. And it was just really cool to be out there with a bunch of guys. Everyone was super supportive and cool. We didn't really run into anybody, I don't think, that was, talking bad or anything like that. Everyone was just awesome to be around. You got help if you asked for it. And it was really cool to run all the tracks down there. I think Cottage Grove was my favorite. That's a crazy track.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
What did you like? What makes it your favorite? What did you like about it? Just the way it races, or the banking, or traffic?
I think definitely the banking.
Yeah.
Because it's not a real big track, but it's super banked, and you get some speed on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I did fall off the track a couple times, but we kept it going and just had some fun. So
that's awesome.
It was a good track.
Yeah, exactly. Considering, the car counts were pretty good during that week. So you were also facing against some new competitors you probably hadn't really raced against, which that can be a challenge, but a fun challenge.
Oh, definitely. It was a lot more racy than what I'm used to at Grays Harbor, but it was just altogether, it was so fun.
Did you feel like going to some other joints this year helped you with some of your runs at Grays Harbor?
Probably. I think it mostly helped me with my car control and, not like yanking the wheel all over the place and just easy throttle control. Don't use your brake more than you need to kind of thing.
Nice. And then obviously 2023, you guys got plans of racing quite a bit between Grays and Skagit. Beyond that, what are some short-term goals that you'd like to do? Would you guys like to eventually move up into a 410, go to California? What are some things that you guys would like to notch off the list here in the next couple seasons?
Oh, that's a good question. So in this season coming up, we're thinking we're going to do a lot of Elma Skagit, and we've got a couple of races with the Ironheads. I just released our planned race schedule for the year. I mean, it'll probably change. Who knows?
Sure.
But that's what we're going to try to hit. And we've got 31 races or something like that from middle of April to middle of September. We've got 1 weekend off. There's a race in Idaho we want to go we want to go check out. And eventually, maybe not this year, unless they have a race going that weekend, I don't have anything planned. Maybe we'll hit up California. We've never been down there for a sprint car race. We raced there a whole bunch in micros.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was another thing is during Speed Week, we returned to Sunset Speedway, which we raced a lot at in micros, but we were there with the sprint car. Yeah. And it was super cool to just like see everybody again and just like have that community back. That was kind of a trip down memory lane. And then, back to goals for this season. Probably get a couple wins in there and just have fun and do some more learning. Like, I'm planning to be in racing for a long time. Not necessarily sure when we'll move up because it's just the cost is so expensive.
Sure.
But I mean, like if I were to have a ride, that would probably be the most sure way that we would be moving up to a 360 or a 410 because just the cost is so insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I was thinking about that. You spent a lot of time at Banks at Sunset Speedway Park. And how different did you have to drive that? I mean, was it considerably different, your driving style, compared to what you were used to? Obviously a bigger car than a 600 micro.
Well, yeah, if you talk to some drivers, they'll say that the micros and the sprint cars are like super similar in driving styles. But for me, it was like the complete opposite. Like, I don't know what it was. I think it was mostly that I drove my micro like really, really hard.
Yeah.
And probably should have worked on my corner entry a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I had to like completely change my driving style. And so it was kind of funny. I mean, during that race at Sunset, we were having some issues with our bleeders, and we ended up having a flat right for the entire race and flat right rear. And so that was kind of interesting because you'd throw it into the corner and it would stay. You wouldn't slide up at all. You were getting a whole bunch of lap time, but
sure.
Yeah, it was really fun though.
That's
I was
awesome.
glad we got to go back.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think your goals are completely realistic. I think it's going to be a wonderful 2023 for you. Outside of the race car, outside of working on your race team, what are some cool things you like to do?
Well, I play high school sports, so I do volleyball, and I'm trying golf this year, which is definitely new.
Okay.
I do taekwondo at a local place in Monroe.
That's awesome.
What else? I have a lot of AP classes and all that, trying to keep up on that. Maybe graduate with my business associate. That's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. So with taekwondo, like if anybody tries to lip off to you and they come flying at you, look out. You're gonna do. I don't know any taekwondo moves, but I'm sure it's similar to wrestling with like an arm drag, or you just shuck them by and do a takedown. So.
Well, we're hoping not to get in any fights with anyone. Yeah. We don't want to be kicked out of the track.
Yeah, break the wrist, walk away. So,
and then other than that, we've got we got a bunch of animals at home and stuff. So we've got our 2 cats, we got a horse, a bunch of chickens and ducks and all that. Maybe
nice.
Some pigs here soon. We'll see.
Yeah. Very busy life off of the racetrack. Yeah, it's a really cool area where you're at. I've only been to Monroe once for the 2017 Rory Price Memorial at Evergreen Speedway, and the fairgrounds is just lovely. The racetrack there was lovely. The staff was wonderful, and yeah, it's great because you don't have the hustle and bustle of Seattle, but it's close.
Oh yeah,
it's close, but it kind of reminds me of Cottage Grove.
Yeah. Monroe's a pretty cool place. Like, not super populated, but populated enough that it's not, you're going to walk down the street and, like, the first 10 people or the first 10 people that you run into, you're going to know kind of thing.
Sure. Well, you mentioned that you just released your schedule. What's the best place to get team news or schedule updates, or if you guys have any apparel for sale online?
Yeah, so we've got an Instagram, so just Zylstra Racing, and then we've got our Facebook as well. So the schedule's on both of those, and I'll give race updates every race on those two accounts as well. And then my mom records all my races that she comes to, which is like basically all of them.
Okay.
And so she posts that on our YouTube, which is also just Zylstra Racing. And eventually, when I get the GoPro figured out, I'd like to do like a split screen side by side of her recording from the stands and then what it looks like from the GoPro.
Sure.
I just got to work on my video editing skills before that happens.
There you go.
Yeah, and then if we ever add any races or anything like that, that'll be posted on the Instagram and the Facebook.
And do you have apparel for sale now online, or is it just simply at the racetrack?
So we don't currently have apparel, but it is a work in progress.
Okay.
I have been working with some folks and trying to get that done. We'll see what happens. It might not end up being until 2024. It might be mid-season.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're working on it.
Awesome. And then all the wonderful people that have helped you, sponsors, everything that's made 2023 possible. Would you like to send a shout out to them?
Yeah, of course. So definitely my mom and my dad. They're huge supporters, and I love them so much. And I'm so grateful that I can drive race cars, because this is like actually so insane. Like if you step back from this and you just look in from an outside perspective, like this hobby isn't cheap.
Sure.
And it takes a lot of work and a lot of commitment, and it's just a really great sport to get into. And my sisters, I love them too. They come out and support when they want to, but they'll come watch and they'll congratulate me and everything. And then as for sponsors, Clay and Graham, that's my grandparents. They're huge fans, and I love them too. D&G Backhoe, Hooper Construction, Monroe Chiropractor and Alternative Medicine Center, Miracles and Memories Academy, Premier Excavating, and Barry Civil Construction are everyone that helps us out.
Awesome. Well, it's been so wonderful to listen to what you have in store for this year, as well as what happened last year. And best of luck to 2023. We'll be keeping tabs on you, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Thank you again for having me on.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this latest episode of Getting Up to Speed with me, Ben Dethridge. We hope you enjoyed this program. We hope also that you hit the subscribe button and the like button, as that really helps things out, spreads things out. Be sure and share as well on social media so that more people can listen to these great interviews and from these great drivers. Getting Up to Speed is a production of Highside Racing Promotions. For more information, you can check it all out on Facebook at Highside Promotions.